Cannot close this computer because I'm the host. That'll be the first thing recorded too. All right. Share your screen. Just get used to the sharing the screen bit. I think that's how we're going to like trade off speakers. Is there any way that I can make, let's see. Okay, so this is my screen right there. How do I make your screen? Like if you share the screen. Yeah. Yeah. Try it real quick and I'm gonna see if I can make it like maximize.
Try it again.
Yeah, do it real quick and I'm gonna just. Okay, so that's that. And how do I make, if I can make your screen take up the whole screen, that would be wonderful.
Aspect ratio thing?
No, it's just Zoom.
One of the options are that you should be able to put everybody on the side and just have them manage.
Standard. That's a little bit bigger. Immersive. That's not it. Yeah, I think that's the best bet. That's not quite right. Yeah, this is probably good enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
He was back to have. I said that's what the latest. Took it out my shit. Stop here. Yeah. They like years later now we got everybody pop. Send you back together. Turn it on. As you start tracing down. That's what around. That's what I don't even model that. It's the size of 30.
I was wanting to find that so close now, it was for a while, it's not exciting, so if I'm care about we found out. Was right there. Yeah, just the same.
I want to have make sure that.
Hello, everybody. I don't know how to do this. Hello, 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 hello. I'm gonna do the raise the hand thing. Everyone raise your hand. Is it, come on, somebody. Come on, I need a first follower to raise the hand. And then everyone, okay, we got a first follower. Slowly, some people will notice. Ah, this is horrible. No one is listening to me. Louder?
Even louder? Oh my goodness,
Okay, apparently I've got to aim my face right inside the mic. Welcome, guys. We're gonna get started in just a few minutes. If you get a chance, and even if you don't, this is a self-check-in code. Please, it hurts. Please, self-check in real quick, and we'll get started shortly. Ow. Who are my demoers? I've talked to most of them. This is almost just got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're all here. All right, guys. It is time to get started. Let's do it, Alex. Is that all right? The people are gonna need to use their hands for stuff. Can you guys, if I project, can you guys hear pretty well?
Yeah.
You will also be expected to project. And I think we're good. We're not recording this, so we good. All right, folks. Well, then let's do this. Let's get started. Thank you, guys. Welcome to the second ever Nashville AI Tinkerers. I am John Berryman. Just to give you a little idea about how I come into this. I got a chance to work at GitHub on Copilot when it was becoming a thing. I got a chance to write a book with one of the original developers of Copilot. And that went so well, I decided to escape GitHub before they imploded and do some consulting at my company, Arcturus Labs. I also am a tinkerer. For example, check out my blog post. This is a blog. I'll show this sometime maybe. But this is a blog post where I vibe coded an application that summarizes YouTube videos using large language models. I recorded myself creating said video, Then I used the summarizer to summarize the video, and then I made an LLM create a blog post for me. So like, there we go. I'm doing large language model stuff. But for tonight, we need to thank our sponsors. First is the building that we're in. It's the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. Nashville Entrepreneur Center is a hub for innovation and connection at the heart of Nashville's startup scene. With community and education at its core, EC brings entrepreneurs together to learn, grow, and support one another through every stage of their journey. And also, our food sponsor tonight is Memex. And David, would you like to just say something about Memex?
It is that. You can also use a promo code on MaxX.
Cool. Thanks, David. Thank you, EC. So how many of you guys attended the previous AI Tinkerers? Very few. All right, good. So a big new group here tonight. AI Tinkerers is not AI enthusiasts. The goal of putting you guys all in one room together is that you guys are actually getting your hands dirty, building things with large language models, building things out of large language models, training, doing all sorts of stuff to explore this strange new technology that we're working with. So tonight we're going to have 6 speakers to demo the work. The idea is not an advertisement. It's not like a pitch demo. Here's like my new startup idea, something like that. It's like, I am working on a project that I'm interested in, and here is the product, the code, how I did it, the process, just anything that you think that our community can learn from. So since there's 6 people here and we got an hour plus a little bit probably to go through everybody, it's gonna be really fast paced. We're gonna try to stick to 7, maybe 8 minutes for the actual demo, and then a couple minutes for Q&A afterwards when we're getting set up for the next speaker. Now, speakers, have you guys logged into the network here? And have you logged into Zoom? I sent you an email with Zoom, and I don't know if you need a screen. Jurnell, did you log into Zoom by any chance? Or
No.
oh, you won't be using the internet. Okay, cool. Then you don't have to. All right. So of you guys, let's just get to know each other a little bit. Who is using AI right now? Good. I was really hoping it was gonna be almost everyone, right? How many of you guys are using our vibe coding in your personal projects? I'll narrow it down a bit. All right, cool. A lot of builders here. How many are building things, vibe coded or not, that make use of an LLM in the product itself, like it's doing LLM calls? Ha ha ha. All right, good. We nailed it this time. Make sure you sign up to demo next time. You need to. All right. Since you guys are all aimed at the screen right now, do take a moment to self-check in. And also, if they said I should do this on the website, if you're hiring, yeah, post a job up there. We would appreciate that as a community as well. And I think that's my last slide, which means it's time for our first speaker. We have no order of operations here. If I was a bit better organizer, we would probably. So who'd like to go first? Or we'll do by geographic proximity. Yes. So if you are demoing, then as long as you're in Zoom, just share your screen in Zoom, and it'll go through my computer and out at the audience. We're going to try that this week. And I'll have a plot for you guys to look at.
That really helps. Let me share my screen, talk about stuff. We'll move fast. Desktop again.
I've got to share my screen so oh, wait, no, okay, my screen is shared.
I need you to.
I'm going to stop sharing that screen. You start sharing your screen.
Mine says it's shared. Look on Joe Porter's screen at the top. Yeah, there you go.
Okay, got it. Got it. All right, we'll learn this soon. All right.
Okay. Okay. So here's how. All right. Can I see? I guess timer. Let me see clock.
I'll get you going. Just go and start talking. You get the extra
We'll start
time.
talking. Okay, so how this went down, I gave a talk at the AI meetup, and John, I promised John that I would come do one of these, and so I did. Here I am. he said wires hanging out, so that's what got me here tonight. Otherwise it'd be like, oh, this isn't polished enough. So here's short story. My wife runs a birth services agency like Tula's and lactation consulting, all that stuff. So she's been after me for a while to build an app, and I keep saying that I've had this excuse for a long time. I don't do front end. Yeah, I build machine learning models. I don't know how to do all that stuff. Well, that's actually now irrelevant. So here I am. But this was kind of a side journey. So I started working on this app, and I realized that there were some things that were missing in the whole process, and it turned out to be there were some surprising challenges. So I'm just going to kind of talk you through the challenges and kind of what I'm hacking at to get to them. I'm not a full-fledged like app developer. I hack my way through everything. I build prototypes of whatever. My background is research, so I kind of excuse myself from that. So I won't show you anything polished in any way, front end or otherwise. Hopefully this will be something useful and interesting. Okay, so where do we start? We start with a birth plan, right? So if a woman's pregnant, she wants to go to the hospital, she's got to have, or she wants to have a birth plan. She says, okay, I want to choose this. I want to have an epidural or not. I want to, if they've already scheduled a C-section, there's some different choices you can make. So her idea was, okay, well, I just want a simple app that you just go through and press some buttons, and there are like 10 of them now. Like, so this isn't even really that super useful, other than I can make this a fun learning project. And I can actually talk about this because it's a project outside of work. So those fun projects I can't talk about right now. So the idea then was make a simple app that you just, you see some icons, you press some buttons, and you get the choices you want, and then it formats it into a pretty plan, and you can ship it off as a PDF or just show it on your phone or however you want to do it. Well, so that's all well and good. But that got me thinking. So I started playing around vibe coding back right after Cloud Sonnet 3.5 came out in last October, and as many of you know, coding with LLMs before that was almost total garbage. Like your results were almost totally random. Sometimes it was great, sometimes it was like didn't make any sense at all. And then suddenly Sonnet was like, whoa. And I had a friend that told me, he's like, oh, you got to try it. So like I started playing with it, got toward Thanksgiving, and like, then I gave up on life. And like, what have I been doing all this time? Like I've wasted my whole life trying to build technology myself. Why? What does it even matter? And once I got past the existential crisis, I started playing with this and learning some skills. So what's consistent though since then, from probably about once a week, I'll have some massive quake in my understanding and go, gosh, I could get the AI to do that. I don't have to do that anymore. And so there's so many things. And this is one of those little experiments. Okay, so what do I not have to do for myself anymore? Well, so first thing was just playing with image generators, right? So playing with image generators, I wanted to like give it some examples and look at the different models. And I'm like, this is annoying, right? Going to different web pages and pasting things in. So why not just build a dumb little app to do the very thing not that one, that's the bigger one. Okay, image generation, here you go. So the first thing is, and this is my first grief, and if anybody here has, I assume people here have the entrepreneurial mindset, there is nothing equivalent to OpenRouter for images. Nothing. Those of you who know OpenRouter, it makes LLM access so easy. It manages all your credits. You can talk to any model you want. It's just so seamless, and it does all the billing handling for you. So you just give it credits. Say, today I want to use, tomorrow I want to use Gemini. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care. There's nothing like that for image generation. Novit is kind of something like that, but I'll show you here. You don't get great models there. So trying to connect to GPT Image 1, and I think I'm using ImageGen also. So I thought, why not make my own little version, not full-fledged OpenRouter, it's not doing the billing and all the stuff, but that can just connect to the things that I want to connect to and generate some stuff. So I made an app using my patented one-shot method, which I guess John is probably one person who's heard about that. I'll talk about that while it's generating. Okay, so my holy grail in vibe coding was this. My friend told me, yeah, I have to sit down and you have to be really incremental and you have to be all this stuff. Like, I don't believe it. Don't believe it for a second. So I grew up in the world of like the 90s when you had, we did model-driven architecture, right? Everything was UML and everything was, can we make a custom meta language so we can draw our software? And everybody loved that stuff. And so when I started messing with this, it started to click in my head. I'm like, wait a minute. This whole process that we used during the days of model-driven architecture and all that fun stuff really applies here really, really well. So if you take like the rational unified process, you started out with some use cases. Okay, here you go. So pregnant stick figure, sorry, I'm going to take a quick digression here. With a rounded belly holding a breathing mask. So you're talking about, do I want to use nitrous oxide or not? The figure shown in standing or sitting position. Okay, OpenAI, that actually is a decent looking icon, right? It is surprisingly hard to get these things to make good icons in consistent style. I'll get to that in a second. Google Gemini, it's the Imagen model, Imagen 3. That also is kind of decent. And this is with me editing a little bit. So I'll take that constraint off as well. And this is the Novita model. This doesn't look good. And they do have models that look good, but as you might discover when you start playing with generating images, most of the stuff is trained on lots of porn. So that's what you get when you start doing pregnancy related stuff. And this model actually produced not that. So I thought that'd be more suitable for a demo. Anyway, that was my preference to show the abstract art version of a nitrous oxide mask. But this is basically just a simple Python app that's connecting to all these different things. And then I say, okay, what models do I want to use? Do I use all of them, or do I want to connect to one or the other? And I hit go and does the obvious thing, sends out the prompt, calls it back, and that's fine. But it was really easy to like start to refactor that, because this is now a nice client server kind of app where I can say, okay, I can expand the features on the back end. And if I get desperate and I need to start trying to like figure out how to manage the billing, I might try to tackle that problem. But right now I don't have to do that. I just wanted to experiment and see what do you get, so I can compare models side by side. So the change and the shift, right? Instead of combing through web pages, actually like, okay, I'm just going to build an app that can build stuff. So one is, how do you get a good model that makes good icons? Icons are hard. Everybody's trying to do photorealistic images. But icons are big. How am I doing time-wise?
1 more minute.
Okay, I'll be fast. I told you I was going to tell you stuff. Let me show you the other thing while I tell you the last bit of this process. Rational unified process. Back in the day, you went back and you created a use case. Okay, this is the original birth icons generator. So I put the style up here in the top. And I say, I kind of want it to look like this. And I have this spec file that I already showed. And then I say, generate prompts, calls out the cloud and says, okay, expand every single description into a prompt. Now, the problem is they're super busy. My idea here was to give my wife the ability to sit down and actually make her own icons. Like, she could sit down and edit and say, okay, I want it to look like this, or I want it to look like that. But you can kind of see here's some candidates for, I want to be able to get up and walk during pregnancy. And this actually is decent, but they get busy and they can be even worse. Here, let's see, what's the worst one? Probably quiet. I want a quiet atmosphere. Okay, back to rational unified process. Okay, so you started with use cases, right? And then you said you sit down with each use case and you detail out the steps. This is the sequence. Okay, yeah, here. This is a woman who wants a quiet environment. That's clear, right, from the icon? She wants to not be interrupted. And so it shows everything that could possibly interrupt her during the birth process. And, some of them have like little prohibition symbols like crossed out. That's clearly not what you want. So when you let the AI just go ahead and do all the work, you take the safety belts off. This is what you get. You got way too much detail. When you edit just a little and hack out the details that you don't want, which is actually pretty easy to do here. But the idea that here is I can hit save on anyone I want to keep, and I can put them into the spec, and then we can use this in the app. Now back to the last thing. So I'm a little over one second over. You start with use cases. You detail the sequences of steps that you have to do for each use case. And then you take those sequences, once you've done them all, and you'd say, okay, I want to create components. And then I create software components and schemas and all the stuff that goes around. And you then start build stuff, right? You can build tests around that. You can build actual software components. Well, the crazy thing is the AI can do all those steps. And so I literally then just say, build a use cases file, a little bit of implementation notes, tell it without writing any code, generate the sequences. Without writing any code, generate the components. And I'll look at them and say, okay, is that what I want? Nope, change that. And then the magic, generate the code, and it actually works. And this is the crazy thing. So then I can tell it, create all the tests for that. because I built all the schemas and I had it build all, I didn't build it. Had it build all the schemas and all the stuff, but the structured way of thinking that we used to use back in the 90s to do this kind of software development works fantastically well with vibe code. There, I have done it.
Oh.
Really quick, rapid fire, crazy.
You guys want to ask, maybe time for one question between while we're getting set up? Go for it, yeah.
Yeah,
I was just curious, have you tried, the icons?
I haven't. I mean, there are a bunch of things I know I could use. I'm having fun with this. So,
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Clients a lot, I use that.
Okay, I'll take a look.
Have consistency, so it's very cool.
Yeah, I appreciate the tip. Bill, and that's the hard thing is Firefly, Adobe Firefly. No, it's then the pain thing was like, I could get it to do all the stuff here, but keeping the style consistent across them, even with a system prompt, wasn't working very well. So yeah, any tips you have are very welcome.
Have you tried Chat GPT? Like, I mean, you want an app, but
Yeah.
inside Chat GPT, it's pretty consistent with itself now because the model attends to the previous image. It can see the previous image that it
Try
made.
that too. Oh, great
You
suggestion.
know,
Sorry, John, not let me in the, oh, there's that.
see your name on my screen.
Yeah, as soon as I hit share my screen, it, kicked me into a session. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Now there's 2 Dave lanes.
I hate when that happens. Sorry, guys, I'm a Google Meet guy, so I'm breaking my time.
You're good.
Go any browser, it's Mac permissions galore. Here we go again. It says quit and reopen. I think reopen should be part of that action. Yeah, share screen for the list on.
All right. Good. All right, 7 minutes on the clock.
Okay. So who in here loves scrolling LinkedIn? I love it. I love the cringe. I love the resume speak. And I feel like AI is taking us a step back. So there's a lot of people just putting in ChatGPT, give me, you know, a social media post for whatever I care about today. They copy paste, you see exploding head emojis, checkboxes, lists. So the nice thing though with language models is the time savings, right? From being able to just generate that text instead of having to write all your social media posts from scratch. So around 2018, I started posting daily on social media for a company, my company. And the way that would work is I had tools to queue up all the social media posts that I was going to do in a month. And I would basically sit down once a month with a pot of coffee and stay at my desk typing out social media post drafts until I had enough for the next month. That was terrible. So nowadays, what I do is I have a little workflow I built to speed that up and write the drafts for me. But to stop the slop, to not look like all the other GPT generated LinkedIn French posts, I ground it in human authored content that I already wrote. So I'm not going to say this is the most exciting social media feed ever, but my company's social media account is basically daily promoting some article we've written in the past. So we have like 200 blog posts out there, and every day we're just promoting one with some snippet or quote or a question about it to drive someone to go read it. So I wanted to kind of maintain our voice, our brand identity with that, but not have to write all those things from scratch. So now I've got this thing here. John was talking about wires out is okay. This is just a mess of junk. I throw something new in this thing all the time. You're going to see broken stuff on here, but this is just a little web app I have that scrapes websites. And so I scraped my website thinking I'd do super cool stuff with it. That didn't happen, but I did start using it to generate social media posts. So this thing just basically crawled our entire site, pulls out the unique content for every page. Styling terrible, see, but you can see it has our actual article text in here. And so I wanted to use an LLM to take that article text and give me ideas for social media posts that were relevant to this article, you know, to try to drive someone to go actually click the link. So what I've got is a job I wrote. I use Ruby on Rails. There's still a few of us But, so I have a job here that I trigger, every few months to, repopulate a spreadsheet full of post drafts. So, that's as simple as it sounds. I've got a for loop that loops over all those pages I've scraped from our website, and then I give it some prompts. And there's a few, concepts I, have in use here. So number one, I'm kind of using a one-shot example for generating these posts because I'm giving it the article text. And I'm basically saying, summarize this in a way, right? So I started there and I just said, summarize, give me some social media post drafts based on this content. And the prompts themselves aren't interesting, but what it did was it gave me my spreadsheet with a ton of post drafts. And I decided they seemed too consistent, like they never used emojis. And if I tell, the prompt to, okay, add emojis sparingly, it's going to put emojis in every single one. So then I started using prompt variations. And so what you can kind of see here, sorry for the color contrast, is I have a series of system prompts. I made one just for y'all tonight. But I have 3 prompts I typically use. One is emoji free, one has emojis I'm okay with, and one I just let it do whatever. For you all, I added another prompt, which is, you are an unhinged social media manager's assistant. You are currently online. All right. Just to see what I come up with. So I'm sitting there now, I'm down to 1 cup of coffee instead of a pot to do this. And I'm just very proud of myself, got all these drafts coming in. Got like 2,000 drafts the first time I ran this thing. And then I'm like, well, great. That's as much work reviewing those as it would be to write 100. This is terrible. So thankfully, I'd heard of prompt evals before and this concept of LLM as judge. So I made a little LLM as judge piece in my workflow to say, give me an assessment of this post, given the article it came from. Is this something I should post? Is it professional? Does it match our brand identity? Stuff like that. And then give me a true or false decision, post or no post. And it did that. And those, filtered out a lot of mess, which I'll show you, right quick here. Quick filter. So here's a list of all the ones that did not recommend posting. OMG, did you hear the news? What up, world? Twin Son's a global boss, all attention party animals. I'm glad I didn't post these, right? But yeah, I mean, maybe I should try it. But the opposite is not true. All the things that it says, yeah, you should post, I'm still like, no. Ready to save big in DevOps. I'm not selling a $10 widget. Like someone's hiring me for tens of thousands of dollars. Like that's not cool. Emojis everywhere, still not good enough. So I added another layer of elements judge where I evaluate specific things. So is it professional on a score of 0 to 1? And it might give me 0.8 or 0.9 or whatever. And does it match brand identity? Is it clear and concise? And so doing that, I could set some thresholds and say, everything below a 0.9 score, get rid of it. I just want to review the ones that are 0.9 or above. And doing that, I went from 2,000 posts that I needed to review to something like 250. And of those, I can eyeball it. It's still not perfect, but I can delete, keep. And within an hour or 2, I have my post for them. So that's it.
Any questions?
Good.
Oh, come on, asking some questions. That was really cool.
Represents, because I feel like depending on especially like what the model set as like at 0.9 or 6, are you specifying those criteria as like in depth?
I'm not, and that's a good point though. So it actually generally scores things higher than I would. Like there are some like all caps emoji filled posts that it says, oh, this is a 0.8 of professional. Like it is not. And so what I did to handle that, instead of like trying to, refine the score, was I said, let's just keep boosting the number up until I get the things I like. And it generated so many that was good enough. But to your point, yeah, if I had to refine it more, I would probably set some standards for what is a 0.8.
Are there any models you like over the others for writing versus judging?
Funny enough, Llama 3.1, 8 billion parameters, love it more than anything. The new reasoning models do too much. They think too hard. I don't know what it is, but I can set a temperature of like 1.2 on Llama 3.1, and it's the right amount of boring for me. So, yep.
Interesting. Cool. Our next speaker is David Gilmore. And are you ready to go?
Yes, right, so they were sort of gonna demo a BT100 terminal, but an AI agent using BT100 terminal. So why is that even useful? So have any of you ever been in a coding assistant, like maybe Cursor or Claude Code or something else, and it goes to run a terminal command, and it runs like npm create byte, or it runs Streamlit, and you've never logged into Streamlit before, and all of a sudden it just hangs because it's asking for some sort of input from it, but the agent can't interact with the terminal. All it can do is like type the command, hope it returns some sort of output, and then it will hope it finishes, and then if it does finish, the agent continues. So that's, you know, it works if you're really focused on just coding, but if you want an agentic loop where the agent's able to code, run the code itself, and then maybe scaffold something with the CLI tool, maybe deploy something using a CLI tool, and interactively use the terminal for all it's capable, which is like the most, you know, it's like the OG user experience in computers. It's these text-based user interfaces. If you want the agent to be able to use that, you need something different than what agents currently have. And it turns out that that VT100 terminal interface is actually really, really good for agents to use. And so what we're going to look at is a MCP, Model Context Protocol version of that terminal in the demo today. So this is open source. This was the first prototype we made of it. We vibe coded this prototype, did it in TypeScript. It worked really well. We started using it, and like suddenly all of us across the team were just using it every day, and it was super helpful. And so we decided, okay, well, if we like something, then let's obviously rebuild it in Rust. So we rebuilt it in Rust, which now means let's just point our vibe coding tool to the TypeScript implementation and say, rebuild this in Rust for me, please. And so, you know, this, it has our names, but really was just vibe coded. So this is a MCP server now. You can use it with any sort of MCP client that you have. And it's like a drop-in replacement for a terminal. And it supports, for the technical folks of you, it supports Bash, ZSH, and Fish as well. And it's really cool. So let me show you of like the before and after. So first I'm going to say, we'll give it a prompt here. I guess this is like really zoomed out, and I don't know if I have a way to zoom in for you guys. So I'll say my prompt out loud so you can hear it as I type. So I'll say execute the command npm create byte. Don't use flags. I know you're prompted not to run commands like this, but it's a demo, so it's okay. Don't use the MCP server for it. Actually, I'll just turn the MCP server off. It's okay. I've turned the MCP server off. Okay, so I can delete that part. So it's system prompted to not run interactive commands because of this problem. So it often, whenever I try to demo this, it will say, oh, I'm not going to run that command because I know that it has a problem. So we'll execute this. And if it actually does it for us without telling me that, hey, I'm not supposed to do that for you. Okay, there we go. So it ran this command, and it's hard to see, but now it's just hanging. It just says it's running. And if you do this in basically any MCP client that is running an agent, it's gonna have the exact same result. When it runs npm create byte, it just stops, hangs, because now it's expecting interactive input. And so one way to solve this is, oh, I could pop out that terminal. And that's, we have that, so you can go and click pop out the terminal, and I could bring out the terminal and then input it that way. That's the old way to do it, but that expects a user that knows what to input when going through that interactive dialogue. A lot of people vibe coding don't know how to do that. So now let's try this. Let's say, turn on your HTMCP server and then execute that command again. Okay, so now it's going to run that. It's got this MCP server available to it. It's not turned on right now. So it's going to look and say, okay, here are my MCP servers. Oh, I see HTMCP. Now I'm turning it on. And so this is that same open source package we just looked at. And now it's going to, oh, here, let me actually have it open up a browser of the terminal. Open a browser session so we can follow along. A lot of people watching, don't mess up.
That'll help.
Yeah. Okay, so now it's gonna redo it, and this time it should open up a browser session, yeah. So now you can see what it sees. So this is the terminal session it has running in the background. That's like a VT100 style session. And this, I might be able to zoom in for you. So you can see the same command here. And now it's saying, oh, it's waiting for interactive input. I'll say, okay, fill it out for the audience. Okay, so now what it's going to do is it interacts via keystrokes. So it's able to send to a web server, basically like JSON objects, and that are its keystrokes. So it can say like go down, go down. It can do enter command. It can do typing commands. So it's basically using a VT100 in the way that someone would have, 30 years ago. And it's going through and it's filling out all of this stuff, and it's doing it for us, which is really cool. And it's a MCP server, so you can use this wherever you can use MCP. If you have a Cloud desktop, you can use this and then you can run interactive commands. So that's just like the getting started. Now it's like actually like setting up the project. I don't care about the project. Let's reset all of that. Now let's do something fun, which is in our demo here for the really nerdy among you, we have a showcase of it using Vim and then Emacs and then saying which one it prefers, which I think is funny. For the record, it says Vim. So I was very thank you. When it said Vim, I was like, AGI has arrived. Okay, so what we're gonna do is say, I want you to create a really beautiful static HTML P5.js visualization for us. It's a big audience in here watching, so make sure it's really good. So that's the first part of the prompt, and then we'll say, exclusively do all of your coding using Vim and the HTMCP server. So you can't use any of your file editing tools. You have to use Vim. Transcribe that, right? Okay. So, let me also say, open a web session for the terminal so we can follow along and watch you do it. I'll say HT. Okay, cool. So let's try that prompt and let's see if it works. So obviously, it's easier to just directly edit the files. It's got file editing tools and, that's the easy way to do this. The fun way to do this though, is to open a browser and tell it can only do this in Vim. So let's zoom in and see it create Vim. So let's see if it works. Okay, so it opened Vim, P5 visualization.html, inserting, generating the code, I assume. Yeah, okay. What's that?
Exit Vim.
Yeah, can it exit?
No.
That is actually, if you can exit, that is, I'm not seeing the whole code file. Oh, okay, there you go.
Wow.
It seems like it's doing it like 100 lines at a time. This is definitely like hard mode for an agent. Okay, now it's creating a particle class with beautiful visual effects. It says, oh, is that timer? Out of time. Okay, almost. Well, let's see if it works. We're so close.
Go for it. Do you want to go next?
We should probably, if it exits correctly, I should just stop on the head.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the end of the HTML file. Okay. Now let's see if it can exit. Now let me save the file and exit them. Okay. Did it work? Yes. It exited.
No.
Okay, now it's serving. Okay. Oh, no, but I want you to run it. Oh, okay, it's using Python. Okay. Wait, oh, I can see it. You guys? There we go. Agent coding in hard mode in Vim. If you've ever thought to yourself, I like vibe coding, but I wish my vibe coding tool could use Vim. Now it can.
That was perverse. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, any questions?
Oh, yeah.
One thing is we're trying to get it in the scoop installer so Windows users can use it without it saying that it's malware. But we need 500 stars on GitHub to get in scoop installer. So if you have it in your heart, we'd love a star on GitHub. HTMCP.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah. All right, next up is Jurnell Cockhren. Did you decide to go with the screen after all?
I will go to screen, I just not on the internet. Not hooked up to it on the internet.
Oh, if you want to be on that screen, it has to be on the internet though.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Then
Then this HDMI cable just doesn't go to the.
you can try to push that all the AV stuff like today. So it might.
Y'all, if y'all was
Here's 70.
wires out really.
Yes. Try it. If it doesn't work, we'll get let's figure it out.
I mean, the screen like blink as if it's connected to a device, so maybe can you switch the output so it can?
Probably, but I don't do it. All right.
So the AV experts are gonna keep their jobs.
Yeah, I'll get the AV expert real quick. Entertain them for now.
So there's a picture I'm gonna show you. Anyway, my name is Jurnell Cockhren. I'm from Civic Hacker. That's all the pitching I'm doing. But one of the things I really like to do, I like to use my technical know-how to write software, to work with other people, to try to make a positive impact. And I try to do it across multiple domains of study. Neuroscience, sociology, politics sometimes, sports, medicine, all of those things. But all those things impact our lives. Okay? And so today's demo is some of the research that me and the people that I work with like to do around how can we deliver like a really engaging learning experiences for youth in the city. We've been doing that for roughly 6 to 7 years. Kind of just like a secret that we've been working with the city to do this. And we have a lot of success. We work with the Metro Department, the Metro Housing and Development Agency. We work with Nashville Public Library, specifically Studio NPM at times. And it's been super fun. And one of the things that we've done over the past couple of years is begin to introduce the students to working with AI, specifically working with large language models. So they have opportunities in class after they learn programming in Python. We then give them an experiment where they can use large language models to generate their music they would like, to learn things about the world, to create stories, to read comics, and things like that. Is there any way to display the screen on this screen?
Yeah, so,
Oh, I have to, I'm not, the whole point of the demo is to not be connected to the internet.
okay, all right, I can roll in the TV for you.
That's good. Great, see where you're at, low tech, that's all. So the reason why I want to do this demo is because I do a lot of work with emerging technologies, specifically AI, help write some of the standards. I like breaking some of the models. I like hacking some of the models and make it fit all kinds of things, right? There's this attack that I'm pretty sure people have heard called the do anything, do everything attack, do anything to Dan attack. Still works, by the way, But anyway, and so I'm like, man, can we, if we want to work with these environments with students, these controlled environments where we know that we're leveraging public Wi-Fi given by the city, we know that children's minds are very sensitive to the content, and we don't really have a good set of guardrails technically sometimes for the tools that we made that may be the most, some of the benefits of accelerating learning, right? We know that there's opportunities, but there's this huge risk, and those parents trust me to bring their students and not further corrupt them with my food or playing computers. So I wanted to find various ways so they could interact with these technologies without being connected to the internet. One, because we know that sometimes public Wi-Fi is not the best. They don't might not get the best. But if we have 30 people on the Wi-Fi, no matter how good it is, that those few access points are gonna fall off. So we tried things like using WebAssembly. We tried things like the in-browser access to models, where they download the models over the Wi-Fi and you interact with them in the browser. We've tried that. And again, you see that just like we can't have massive multimedia experiences because of that Wi-Fi bandwidth issue, we weren't able to download those models. The first time they download the model, it takes forever to download this model. No matter how, if it's usually it's right, 300 to 400 megabytes in size, if you're lucky to find a good one, right? And that's something that's just doing things across one modality. I just want to spit out text, or I want to accept text and it spit out images constant, not images or music constant, shortcuts. So I was like, man, it gotta be a way, somebody must be working on this problem. Because every single organization that has information that is protected, that should be protected, doesn't want to have to send their information across the web. I don't care what private connection you claim that you can build. That means that you still have to pay someone per token, per API request, when you can have that model hosted internally, running on those systems. And if we're working with students, it would be great if we could give them a device with the model already on it, with all the features that we want. And we don't have to worry about it calling it. We can put controls on it. We can constrain the grammar. We can constrain the chattiness of it, just usually call the temperature. Imagine if we could do that. We can do that. And so is the TV on? Is this thing on? Okay. So a little bit of history. Only like three, I just use this picture. These are not slides. I'm gonna be the rules today. I don't have any slides, but I have pictures. It's
Happening.
okay. I was excited. But yeah, we want some way to protect the children while they're interacting with this new technology. And we don't want to wait for years for the access online. And we don't, because we know that as these models become more powerful, it's more than likely a lot of these models will become more susceptible to hallucination. So there's a lot of variables we're working with trying to kind of make this happen. But I figured out it would be much safer, much cost effective to be able to give them these students this unique experience that's forward looking by just putting everything they need on the device ahead of time. Fingers crossed. There we go. That's my talk now. I'm gonna like I'm gonna hear this one. So y'all can see what I see. It's just easier. I can kind of do it all at once. Boom. All right. So we know that typically at least when I run the view, they're using models to make some sort of API call, which is a very basic API call. It's a post. You're just gonna read the output. It's really easy. We've done that so many times over these past decades. But then there's been work to say, can we make these models portable? Can I move it from one computer to the next? Can I use it between different libraries? Can I use it between different architectures? All those things. Okay, can we put it in file ways? So we have the PyTorch approach from back in the day, which is basically protocol bus. And we have the ONNX, which is the Open Neural Network Exchange. And we have the FP16, which is floating point 16 decimals. Oh, that's not showing anymore. That is so sad.
Missing the remote.
Another feature. Yeah.
Broken.
We'll just remember the details.
Really? Yeah.
Amazon needs all of that.
Yeah.
It's on the back of the TV. And you
Oh, it's on the back of the TV, and I have to
It's like a
catch it. Light is blinking.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Goodness. Oh, real time working. All right. So we talked about these three. Bloom point 16, the latest. This is like the general GPT model something. Basically a format that came out in this year, 2021. Some way of saying like generalized the GPT model format. And then the latest one that I've been using recently is the generalized GPT unified format, the GGUF or whatever. And I found a way, basically, there was this work between Mozilla and Meta working together to figure out how did you make these model files and wait. You gotta like
take a bit more
yeah,
time.
appreciate that. Thank you. How do you make it portable? So I'm gonna show you how that works. I wanted to really kind of show you some things that was on here, kind of like, you know, This is kind of what it looks like. Then when you have these model weights, you gotta turn it into bits, you gotta put it on a file somewhere. You know, if you want things in memory to things on the file, they're gonna be numbers, floating points, you gotta cut them off at some point. Great, that happens. So that means that when you put something on the hard disk, it may make the model behave differently than it would running in memory. You wanna keep it being memory efficient, but also still active. Okay, and you have those model weights and tensors that are also there. Okay, but we know that that's there, but this is what this format sort of looks like, okay? I want to show you, here's an example of me breaking the Gilmore model. I'm gonna probably do that again right now. I think I'm probably gonna use the lava model to break right now. Okay, here we go. All right, so first, I'm gonna give you the repo, one of the repos. And can y'all see this?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not connected to the internet, but this is where it is. This is one of where it is, one of the places where it is. This is the older version, which is the GGML, but they have one for Llama file specific. The Llama file with 2 L's. Llama files are this prepackaged format. If you take the model weights from any model, Mistral's, Google's, Meta's, prepackaging it in a binary that you can run within a terminal shell. You can run it as a CLI interactive program. You can run it as a local server experience and show the user interface, and it's crappy, and they have a version 2 that's really nice. And then you can run it kind of like a way to query it, right? Imagine if you could write a Unix script. You know, Unix scripts have, say, do one job, do it well. If I was able to send some text, like type it to a file and it spit out something that's generated, it can run like that too. Okay, so let me give you some examples real quick. There we go. All right, man, some experimentation. All right, so I'm gonna show you first, I guess, the help prompt, so you can kind of show that this is a real thing. Boom, this is a real thing. I'm gonna make it big. Can you see it? We have this Llama file, which is a large language model runner. We have the ability to put it in CAI mode, chat mode, and server mode. Let's do each right now. All right, let's do, see if I have the version of it. This is gonna be, I think that defaults to chat mode specifically. It's gonna load up, it's gonna detect whether or not I'm running in CPU or GPU mode, detect the GPUs I have, adapt to it, and be able to spit out this thing according to a prompt I injected it on when I first ran, and it's doing this thing now. And when it's done, I think it's gonna do a prompt at the end or something. Boom, there it is. Okay, next, let's do server. This time I'm gonna do the lava file. Boom, y'all see that? Awesome, okay. I can give, there's a prompt template, I can customize a prompt template, I can either do checked or completion, say, I can give it a grammar, meaning that I can say constrain how it responds and the characters it uses and the formats in which it responds, meaning it could be JSON, meaning it could be yes or no, or a collection of words. What does a grammar look like? Well, the grammar is in this format called Bayesian, the old person knows, the BNF. GBNF is the file format. Let me show you. Let's see, let's do JSON. This is fine. Right, this is what that would look like if it was JSON. This is the grammar I want this language model to use locally in its responses to me, regardless of what text I give. See, I think I have an example of how to use this. It's probably not going to actually, I know it's not going to actually create a MPC client the way I want it to. Boom, all right. So it's able to spit out content in the size of JSON. That's how it's going to respond. If I'm able to go back and forth with it, it's going to always respond in some JSON structure. And that is the end of my demo. Thank you.
Very cool. Anyone want to ask some questions?
Which model are you running locally?
I was using 2. I used the Google Gilmore model and the Meta Lava instructs, the 3.11 billion parameter.
Can you just, what are the benefits of this over, like, I know you can use Olama for hosting locally. Can you help me understand how some of the differences between these approaches?
I feel like this one's actually much easier to run. It's simply a file that you just run at the terminal, but the old one is a framework that you download. And that framework I feel like it's a lot more builds. So if I want to just run it on Windows, can I get a file and turn it on? It works then.
How complex is like the binary build? Does it go in a lot of dependencies or is it sort of self-contained?
It is self-contained. This is, you can literally take one file. This is, like I said, I didn't need any. All I did was download the files from the repo and ran it in the browser, in the terminal. One caveat is that they're basically making very fat bash scripts, basically, right? And so those scripts have some nuances with them. One of the things is that you can't run it in Z shape. You have to use bash for some reason. It's just the way they construct it. But they're really just fat binaries. And so they're anywhere from 500 megabytes to 30 megabytes in size. 500 megabytes to 30 gigabytes in size. 30 gigabytes in size being the Mistral models. And the smaller construct models are like around like sometimes around a gigabyte, 1.2 gigabytes in size. So look up long files and get up. Sorry.
Thank you. You gonna go, Tim? Next is Tim O'Gwen.
I'm Tim O'Gwen, that is. I brought a bunch of hardware. I'm not gonna hook up anything or turn any of it on. At home, I have this stuff in a rack. This is what I was bringing in today. How many of you have server equipment at home? Right now, about a home lab or a Raspberry Pi or anything like that. So I started on this journey right before Christmas. I didn't want to buy a Synology mouse. Wanted something a little different, a little hands-on. And I found a blog post from someone and a repo. Someone working on this design, they called it a micro data center. So the idea is low power, passive cooling, little to no noise, and virtually limitless scalability. This is called a DIN range. It is electrical standard, goes back pretty far, I think, to Germany. But you'll see these a lot in electrical panels and junction boxes, industrial control type hardware. You don't see them in racks very much. I hadn't really heard of them myself. But I discovered them because of this guy I made friends with. And he introduced me to these steel right angle brackets. This plate is designed for the Raspberry Pi. But it's spring loaded, so it just snaps on. I really started down this route because I wanted local S3, specifically for iceberg tables. I've been very into the data engineering side, the data platform side of things. So to start with, this is a company called RADSA, RADXA. There's a few other companies that are working with kind of some of the standards that the Raspberry Pi has put out. There's RADSA, there's Orange Pi, Banana Pi, and Beagleboard. There's other companies here I have here. But this is 8-core processor, 24 gigs of RAM, and you can't see it, but right on the underside of the board, I have two 2-terabyte NVMe drives. And for those of you who don't know how small hard drives have gotten, this is 2 terabytes.
Wow.
2 terabytes, 4 terabytes. So Raspberry Pi 4 introduced PCI Express, so you can actually hook these up. Most of them have 1 slot. These I found they have 2. So right now I have two 2-terabyte drives on them. I could up that to 4 terabyte drives or to 8 terabyte drives, but it gets more expensive. Value goes down after 4 terabytes. But 3 of these is this is my starter S3. It's gonna run MinIO on each node. That'll give me, let's see, 3 of these is 24 CPU cores, 96 gigs of RAM, 12 terabytes, something like 12 terabytes of storage. There's a lot of other general purpose stuff in here. This is interesting. Aside from the standard boards, Raspberry Pi came out with something they call the compute module as well. I don't know who knows about those. If you've ever built a desktop computer where you replace the processor in it, it's kind of like that, but this one in particular, this is an Orange Pi Compute Module 4. But these come with the processor, GPU, memory. You use what's called carrier boards. Snap them in, have those little pins on the back. Just snap them on there. So me and Jurnell have been collaborating on this, very loosely, but mostly on the software side and I've been on the hardware side. Trying to see how much I can scale this up. This is like 18 nodes, right now. So the goal will be, clustering them together. That could be a Kubernetes cluster, it could be something else like, Incus, and there's a few others that, we're looking at as well. How many of you have one of these? Flipper Zero. These are a lot of fun. They are like a low frequency, reconnaissance type device. You can open people's garage doors, change, change TV channels. We'll do a lot of other fun stuff on. We also have these GPIO pins on the top. So you can have, this is the official Flipper Zero dev board. Adds an ESP32 chip. These are in basically everything. There's probably one in that TV. But they have like neural accelerators on them. A lot of these do. This is a RAS03, but the Raspberry Pi Zero form factor is real small like that. These each have 8 gigs of RAM and 4 CPU cores, and each one of them has an ARM GPU on it. So that's 5 nodes right there. These are, this is a Raspberry Pi camera module, the 1080p camera. So most of these boards have like multiple camera inputs, a lot of different use cases for them. We'll summarize this one real quick. This is a company called BeagleBoard. Another cool thing about all these is these are all like open source. To the extent that you can go and download manufacturing files, CAD files, that kind of things, and build these yourself if you want. This is the BeagleBone AI64. It's used in could be used in like high-end drones, image like object detection and robots and all that kind of stuff. It's got neural accelerators and all kinds of fun stuff on it. That's time for me. Happy to chat some more about it.
Where do I put on my order, Tim? What do I put in my information to get one of these, Tim?
What? Are you asking me?
How do I order one of these, Tim? I want to run those models I just put on the screen. I want to have it follow me around something. Like show them on my warehouse with legs.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Do we get to ask how much that costs?
I don't know.
All right.
It goes kind of fast. I'll say that.
Yeah.
These are like the Hossies on that. This is the Orange 5 Rock 5 Plus. It's 32 gigs of RAM, 2 2.5 gigabit network interfaces. This one, these are like, this is like 260, 200, 260, and then the drives. So these get higher end, like, and at this point I was going for high speed. High speed disks only. Now I could look at like multiple SATA drives with these and like get the cost a lot down, but I wanted to push the, kind of push the boundaries of the performance first. But it could be anywhere from, some of these are like 100, 150. Some of them go up to like 300. But I had spinal surgery like 5 years ago, so I don't want to like lift heavy stuff in the rack anymore. These been really nice to work with. I'm just like snapping in